So when it comes to just making just your any basic spring roll, it's pretty simple. Like when it comes to Vietnamese food, one of the things that I grew up with is spring rolls. And the difference between an egg roll and a spring roll or spring salad roll is that the piece of paper is a rice paper and it's not made out of egg. That means you don't deep fry it. So when it comes to just making just your any basic spring roll, it's pretty simple. All you need is your rice paper, your vermicelli, your veggies, including your carrots, your cucumbers, your daikon, your lettuce, and your protein. And it can vary to like pretty much your household. You can have your pork belly or your shrimp. But on special occasions, you have something called your eye of round steak and, you know, your onions, your caramelized onions. And we call it butter beef is because we cook it with beef. I know, it's the most healthiest thing in the world. But for me, this is my bread and butter, pun intended. So what essentially you need to do first is you get a hot pan, melt your butter, and then chop up some onions, dice it up. Make sure the pan is nice and hot and that oil and the butter soaks all up in the onions. Once you cook up your onions, what you need to do is you cook the beef. And this is your, you know, very thinly cut sliced steak beef, and you cut it, you fry it, and it should take super quick, and make sure that thing's on hot fire because you don't want no chewy ass steak, you know what I'm saying? So after you get your protein, your onions, now it's the more fun family happy together time. And it's pretty simple. Put out your little boiling water, you roll your rice paper in it, wait that cool a couple seconds, put your verm on a little thingy, you'll know what I mean. And then you put your line of your carrots, maybe your cucumbers, then you put your onions or your beef or your shrimp or whatever protein you want. You roll the left, you roll the right, you roll it up, and that is your Vietnamese spring roll. But in this case, since it's like beef, then it's called the bò kia. And one of the reasons why, you know, I showcase a lot of food, because growing up, you know, poor, we didn't have a lot of money to go out every weekend or every other day. It was more along the lines of, you know, going on my birthdays or going on special occasions, and that's when we would go out. But for, you know, most of the year, I would, you know, be at home watching my mom cook and learning, you know, whether that's learning how to make a spring roll, learning how to make this and that. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, there's a lot of videos on my channel about the Vietnamese food. Because, you know, it represents me, it represents my childhood, and something I can share with y'all. And that's my version of how to make a Vietnamese bò kia or Goi Cuon. And, you know, super simple, but, you know, it makes my heart all warm and fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? And next time I show you how to make the egg roll. Insert all inappropriate jokes here. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Doses. So once you have your broth and your bed of rice noodles, then you're almost there to completing your bowl of pho. Essentially what happens next is you have your greens on top, your bean sprouts, and you can top it with some pepper and a squeeze of lime.